So screen is visible.
Yeah, yeah. Screening.
Also, let me
Good
know.
evening, everyone. This is Veer Maheshwar Charitable Trust Latur MS India organizing daily international webinar series. In this series, speakers are invited from India and abroad. They are expertise in their field. We accept any topic like education, environment, law. All topics are accepted here. This series is running from last 5 years under the mission of Women Empowerment Series. Today on 25th May, we have invited Shirley Mathew Madam, who is Assistant Professor of Communication Skill, DJ Sanghvi College of Engineering, Mumbai. And the topic is the body language for online communication. I welcome you, ma'am, from my organization and from all the participants. So nowadays, the online communication, online meeting is everywhere necessary for the communication for academic and business purposes. So at that time, which body language is perfect or preferable, she will explain in her speech. I welcome you, ma'am, and request you, you can start your speech now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It's an honor for me to be on this platform, and congratulations to you also for this long running series. I will just start in a moment. My battery looks a little low, so just give me one moment, please. I'll just set my battery. I'll have to charge it. Just a minute, sir. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. So, okay, to begin with, my topic is body language for online communication. So, would you please let me know if you can see the next slide?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, basically, what are we going to get out of this session? So, let's look at a few points. First is why body language? Why are we talking about body language now? How do you use body language for communicating in a better way? And how should body language be used in online communication, especially? So, these are some of the points that we are going to look at. It'll be nice if we can have a little bit of interaction also. So, I'll appreciate some responses. So, to begin with, before I start, I'd just like to ask you all, how do you think, how many years old is communication? How long back did people start communicating? Would anybody like to respond? Do you think of a certain period or a certain number of years back when we started communication? I'll give you a hint. Look at the image here. So, how long back do you think, which age this reminds you of?
Stone era.
Correct, very good. So, right from our stone ages, right from the time man existed, man tried to find out some or the other way to communicate. Now, the next question is, at what age do you think a human being starts communicating? What do you think? A child, at what age does he start communicating?
From the womb of mother.
Oh, excellent. So, earlier, the responses used to be after birth. The moment a child is born, the child starts communicating. But now we know that right from the womb of the mother, the child starts communicating. So, when we look at communication, it is as old as man himself, and a child begins to communicate even before birth. Now, if you look at the beginnings of online communication, now, the first workable prototype of the internet came in the late 1960s. And after that, there has been a rapid growth, and now we know that we spend maximum time online in various ways. So, looking at these pictures, can you tell me what are the ways people spend their time online, or what are the aspects, of online communication? Look at the first image.
I remember Skype.
Yes, definitely. Skype, it's all started with Skype, and then after COVID, everything got online. So earlier it used to be just used, for Skype. And then later on, we see that, right from education, like a student, yeah, earlier for us, long time back in the earlier generation, we could never, laptop was nothing which we had seen. Okay. And even computer was something which was of a novelty. But now children right from school, they have laptops, and they are so used to using it. And we have, even during COVID, we had instances of marriages happening online, so everybody couldn't attend, so people, started viewing marriages online. We had online funerals also, and even now we have this trend that people who can't go for a funeral, especially in certain Catholic funerals, we have the funeral ceremony being telecast on YouTube. So right from marriages to funerals to, as you can see, board meetings, everything has come online. So because online communication is so widely prevalent now, we really have to know, how do you communicate effectively online? So, what happens is, what do you think is missing in online communication as opposed to face communication? When we interact with people, as opposed to that, when we go online, what is that one thing which you feel might be missing?
That emotional touch, now we are becoming more artificial.
Exactly. So, in online communication, what we feel missing is a human touch. Somewhere we feel totally disconnected because we are on different ends of the screen, and we really don't know how exactly the person is reacting, responding. So, a big chunk is missing. So when we look at online communication, we see verbal communication, like in face to face communication, there are two aspects, or you have a verbal aspect and a non-verbal aspect. So verbal aspect includes the words that we are speaking, and non-verbal aspects includes everything other than the words that we are speaking. So when we are talking about what is the importance of non-verbal communication, if you look at this Albert Mehrabian's model of communication, he talks about how words, our actual words, only carry 7% of the meaning. 38% of the meaning or the message is through your voice, tone, pauses, etc. And 55% of the meaning is through the body language, body movements, and all of that. So, now what we are looking at today is in online communication. I'm specifically looking at the body language, the 55% of the part, which actually it's very difficult to recreate in this kind of an online setup. So I'm looking at how this 55% can be used effectively in online communication. So when we look at body language, what are the different aspects of body language? The first important thing what we have to understand is body language is very important. Why? Because if you look at this image, this is of a tiger, such a royal animal. But when the tiger is slumped on the branch, on that wooden branch, it is looking absolutely lethargic and devoid of all that majestic nature of its. So the physical presence impacts the audience's receptiveness. So your physical presence has to be really good for the audience also to feel charged up. Now, what all come in this physical presence? So first, we are talking about facial expression. Now, facial expression is very, very important because your face is the index of the mind. When you meet people, they look at your face, and looking at your face, they feel that kind of a connection. So when we say face, one important part of the face is a smile. So it's said that of all the things you wear, your expression is the most important. Now, just look at this image and tell me, you see two different type of smiles here. Which smile do you think looks more genuine and which seems a little artificial or a little forced? So there is an image to my left and one image to the right. So which looks more warm and genuine?
The right side.
Left one.
You have long hair.
The long hair you think looks more genuine. Okay, what is the reason? Anybody agrees or disagrees? I don't know if.
Left one is, I think, the real one,
Hmm.
and the right one is a little bit like artificial type.
Okay. 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 I would tend to agree with you because. Okay. Could you tell me why you felt so?
Because actually, in the left side,
Hmm.
we may find the real face expression with the real wrinkles, and in the right side, it is
Hmm.
not visible. It is something like it is partial,
Correct.
not fully.
Right, right, right. Very good point there. Because the lady on the left, when she's smiling, her eyes also seem to be smiling, and that's why you can see those crinkles around her eyes. And her smile is a real wide smile which reaches her eyes. So, generally, when a genuine smile, it extends to you, even your eyes, and you can even see, that smile light up the entire face. Whereas in a smile which doesn't seem very genuine, maybe the person, the lips are in such a way, it's open, mouth is open, and the teeth are joined together, but the smile doesn't reach the eyes, so that's why it doesn't look so genuine. So we have different kinds of smiles, as you can see, so some smiles might be a polite smile where you might not expose your teeth, but you just give a polite smile, when you meet somebody. And then you have a wide smile which shows really, that you're happy. The extreme right, what kind of a smile do you think is that?
Sarcastic.
Yes, exactly. Looks like a so one-sided smile looks, gives that sarcastic kind of an expression. So we might not realize, but then your facial expression or even thing like a smile gives indication of various emotions or how exactly you're feeling. So one's facial expression is very important when it comes to meeting people. Now, what happens online? Now, generally, sometimes if you look at this, we many times we see that in online communication, sometimes if you're sitting in such a position that your face is not visible, your face looks all dark like this, and so people can't really see your face properly. So that can be a big disadvantage because people are really not able to connect with you when they don't see you. So there has to be an effort wherein you sit in such a manner that your face, the lighting is good and the audience is able to see you properly, so then they can connect. Now, what is the problem with this kind? Here the face is extremely clear and very visible, but still there's some problem with this. What do you think? Many times we see people, when the camera is on, we see different kind of images. So do you think there is some problem in this?
Partially visible.
Okay, she's partially visible, no doubt, but also the angle, it doesn't look very pleasing. We are literally looking below her nose, inside her nostrils. So sometimes when we are, when we have our cameras on, it's a good idea to just check the angle and see how the face appears. It should not appear, or the angle at a weird position wherein the audience is exposed to this kind of an angle, which is not a very pleasing angle to look for a very long time. So we have to be careful in online communication that face is of course well lit and it's seen properly, but at the same time the angle is also right, wherein it's not at a very awkward position for everybody to see. Okay, so it's good idea to sit at a place where the lighting is good and distance yourself a bit so that you're not too close to the camera and in a very awkward kind of a position. So there sometimes you even see people who ensure that they put some extra lighting also so that it looks very visible. And if you actually you should turn away from the window, because if you're sitting facing towards it, like this position is the right position, so that the light doesn't get reflected and you don't look all darkened. Sometimes if you're sitting in the opposite direction of the light, sometimes it can be a problem. Also, background is important. When you are sitting again for an online meeting, ensure that you have a nice decent background, or you can blur your background if you feel it's not a very good background, because sometimes if you might be in your home and the home is not in a very good condition, or you have clothes drying, or some such thing, it will not look very pleasing. So it's good to have a background when you are giving or talking, or giving a presentation. Now moving on to the next aspect of eye contact. Now eye contact, as we know, is very important during presentations. And we also see that if there is no eye contact, as a presenter, it's said that you're finished, because lack of eye contact shows lack of confidence. I would like to ask you, what does good eye contact show? Like, what kind of things does it establish when you have a good eye contact? What does it show about you?
You are focused about the focused, and you want to know your audience also, whether they are really getting the matter up to them, or the people are just sitting in front of you, or make that is also one thing.
Okay, exactly. Good.
Usually I ask people to come on a screen, because we cannot find out the eye contacts we are making, but whether they are also making, that is also very essential.
That's right. Especially in online situation, it's a little challenging because you really don't know. In face to face, at least you can look at people, you understand whether they are connected, disconnected. But in an online scenario, it's very difficult to understand that. So you need eye contact to know whether they are listening to you. In a physical setup, definitely eye contact helps in the person knowing, whether the audience is engaged or not. Also, the speaker can use eye contact to get the attention of the audience. If somebody in the, if we are teaching our students, and if you see that some of the students seem distracted, if you maintain a little extended eye contact with them, immediately they will, start paying attention to you. So eye contact can be used to get attention as well. So, when we are talking in the online communication, now in an online communication situation, most of the time eye contact is a very tricky thing, because in physical communication, eye contact is when you manage to look at the people and speak. But in an online situation, the thing is a little tricky. Why? Because when you're looking at the screen, that is when you're looking at your audience and you're looking at the people, then it appears as if you don't have eye contact. When do you think it looks on the screen that you have eye contact? What should you do for that? Because what we do most of the time is, if we are, there are people there, we try to look at the screen, we see, okay, who's speaking, who's not. Okay, and but ironically, when you do that, it seems as if you don't have eye contact. So, do you know that one tip to make it look as if you, as a speaker, has eye contact with the audience?
Looking at the camera.
Exactly. So that is the one thing which makes a speaker seem as if he has eye contact. So if your audience, now you might not be able to see your audience, but your audience can see you. Okay, they might have put their cameras, that's not, you can't see them. But when they look, when if you are looking at the camera, it seems to the audience that you're looking at them and speaking. Whereas if you look at the screen, it looks as if you're not having eye contact. So that is a little tricky thing about online communication. So to seem as if you're making eye contact, you need to look at the camera. Now, sometimes when you're wearing specs, so there might be a glare. So again, your face might not be seen clearly, or your eyes might not be seen clearly. So again, you will have to check for the glare, and to if you wish to have good eye contact, then see that your eyes are seen properly, and look at the camera so it looks as if you're making eye contact. So that's an important thing in online communication. Next thing about posture. Now, what does posture refer to? What is the meaning of posture?
The way you stand, the way you sit, the movements, neck movements, what you are making, or head movements, what you are making, and
Right,
reflects your emotion.
exactly. So, the way you stand, the way you sit, and also the way you walk, all of this come under posture. So when we look at posture, like in a normal situation, when you're looking at somebody, posture is very important. Now, sometimes people, especially these days, because of excessive, screen viewing, the posture has become like the person at the back, where the back has become very rounded and the neck is coming forward because of constant sitting in a position wherein you're viewing your mobile and you're leaning forward, so that ruins the posture of people. So you have to have the right posture. The person at the center here again is standing in a like a military kind of a position, a straight chest out position. That also is not right for a regular posture. Regular posture is the one, the first gentleman standing here, the man at the beginning, because he is standing, his entire posture is well aligned. So this is supposed to be the ideal posture when you're standing. Now, when you sit, again, because of extensive, when we sit for a very long time on our desk without realizing, we start slouching, and the shoulders start, getting rounded. So one has to be very careful, even when we are sitting for extended hours, that we are maintaining a good posture, because otherwise it spoils the overall impression. So posture is something that we need to work on. Now, what are the things that posture can tell about you? Now, it definitely shows your involvement, because if you look at this image, the man who is sitting with the hand in the pocket and leaned away from the person who is talking, it shows that his involvement in the talk is not as much. So, for a good posture, you have to be in an upright position, slightly leaning forward. That is supposed to be a good, shows good involvement. It also shows your degree of attention. When you're attentive, especially as a speaker, when you look at the audience, you can understand, by their posture, what is their degree of attention. And also, when you're fond of somebody, you tend to lean forward again and be more, your posture seems to be a little more interested. Otherwise, you are just lean away and you don't seem very interested. So posture determines a lot of things about a person. And also overall the confidence, especially when you come walking to a room and you have, you come walking straight, square shoulders, and you walk up, or you're sitting in a, with again your shoulders square, without slouching. That shows your level of confidence. So posture is very important to show your confidence as well. Now, you can see three images here. So, which do you think posture appeals to you? As a speaker, which posture do you think you would like? If you see the first one, you can see the man with the hands in pockets. Then the second image, you see the girl who's opening out her hands, when she's communicating. And then you see a gentleman who's folded his hands while
The
speaking.
girl,
Why would you say so?
because the person who is putting his hand in pockets is reluctant, what I feel. And the person with the folding hands, he's having a defensive posture, having some kind of a fear or anxiety in mind, while the girl is explaining the whole topic in a detail.
Okay, excellent. So here, if you see, like as you rightly said, the first image, generally, hands, whenever you hide your hands, that is a mark of lack of confidence, or you don't want to reveal yourself openly. So in body language experts, when they see, they what one thing which they remark about is, if you want to come across as an open, approachable communicator, one technique is open palms. The more you open out your palms when you're speaking, you come across as more approachable, and it's easy for people to connect with you. So this is one very important thing in posture. So again, whether even for an online presentation, unfortunately, we cannot have a standing posture, and then speak well. So it's generally a sitting posture. So again, the only thing that is there online is a sitting posture, seated posture. You can sit straight, either like in the figure A, just sit straight, or again, as I said, lean slightly forward. That shows an interested kind of a posture when you're speaking. There are also gestures which can be used. Now, gestures refer to your hand movements or movements of your head. There are certain culture specific gestures. Now, when we talk about gestures, one characteristic of gesture is culture specific. So different ways of greeting, you might either greet with bowing the head, or you might do a namaste in case of we Indians. And the figure on the right is they rubbing noses to just warmly welcome each other, so which is very specific to their culture. But somebody else who's not from that culture might find that gesture a little weird. And now gestures are very important even in online communication, especially if you're communicating in an international situation. You have people from different cultures who are joining you. So when you use gestures, you have to be very careful. For example, thumbs up seems to be a very natural kind of a gesture, which shows, okay, appreciation, good thing. But in the Middle East, that might be seen as an offensive gesture. So if you have people from the Middle East to join and you make some gesture like this, they will definitely not appreciate it. Even this gesture, which we say, oh, it's nice, very good, this gesture again means different things for different people. For the French, this stands for zero. So if you somebody says, if how did you find it, and you do this gesture, it shows that no, it's worthless, we didn't appreciate it at all. Or in Brazil, this could be regarded as a vulgar gesture. So whenever we are using gestures, as far as possible, limit gestures, because you really never know culturally what significance it could have, and sometimes it has offensive meanings. Even simple gestures could be interpreted in a very different manner. Now, while we have to avoid gestures which might culturally have different meanings, we can incorporate gestures which show confidence. This is called a steepling gesture. And generally, when people make an important point, or they want to emphasize on something, so we've seen powerful leaders in their speech using a steepling gesture. So this kind of a gesture gives that command and authority to what you're saying. So this is some of the gesture which you can use, not throughout, but maybe you're making a very important point, and as you make the point, you do the gesture which emphasizes or gives the significance to that point. And as we saw earlier, open gestures, where you have your palms open, you're conveying certain points, and you use a gesture. However, in online communication, it is advised to limit the use of gestures, because in that small screen, if you use too many gestures, it might seem a little distracting, and hence people might not appreciate it too much. So you can once in a while use certain gestures, but overall it's advised to use limited gestures in online communication as opposed to physical communication. Now, talking about grooming and personal hygiene, this of course is very important when it comes to one-on-one communication. You really need to be well groomed and follow a personal hygiene. Now, this is an online dressing. We, of course, we know that online dressing, whatever is seen on the screen, that is the formal appearance that you see. And otherwise, people might have a completely casual outfit at the bottom. So anyway, so here at least whatever part is seen in the screen, you have to see to it that it looks formal and pleasing. Now, even simple thing like unkept hair of a men, if the beard is not well groomed, it can give you a very shabby look. So you really need to be well groomed overall, and hair plays a very important role. So you have to see to it that overall your appearance is good. So if you see a simple thing like it can be very simple grooming techniques or tips which can make you seem presentable. So maybe just a small styling of the hair or grooming of the beard or overall appearance of the face can make you look much better. So grooming is very important, whether it is in physical as well as whether online. You can't take it for granted, and you have to see that you appear well groomed. You even have options wherein you have an appearance touch up. So you can just give this option of touch up my appearance, and maybe you look more presentable on screen. So that is it's a good thing if you can do that. So basically, just this was a wrap up of the body language. In short, what it is all about and the importance. So, what we looked at was positive body language, and we talked about posture, eye contact, facial expression, gestures, all of this, how it contributes to giving that overall positive feeling, even when you are on not only offline but also online. And this is very important when it says body language is a form of non-verbal communication. It is our posture, the gestures, and the moves we make that send signals that speak louder than words. So it's very important. So it's language is something which we use, but body language is more visual. So people definitely they are attracted to more of the visual appeal. So you have to see that visually as a presenter you manage to engage your audiences. So final thoughts are people definitely do like presenters whom they can relate to. So body language can be used to build that connection in the absence of one-on-one interaction. In online communication, we definitely don't have one-on-one interaction. So that missing connection can be given through body language. So that's it from my side. Thank you. Do you all have any questions? If you have, I'll be happy to take them.
Thank you, ma'am. It was a very useful speech for us because mostly we are engaging ourselves in the online classes or the formal meeting, like head meeting, like the webinars. So when we started the webinar series and my speeches also in Corona period, I was attaching a list of the instructions which can be taken care online. At that time, speakers and participants were also try to come on screen. So they were mostly following the instructions. I remember that days now. You have completely given the important instruction for that, and it is very useful for coming online. Before 5 to 6 days, there was a speaker of our series. She was seeing toward the roof or toward the wall. So I remember that type of seeing. So this is very useful for us, and basic tips you have given. So thank you for that. Now I request participants they can discuss with our speaker on today's topic. Because in mostly in communication we have interactives and mostly they have replied Dr. Swamin Shukla sir and others have answered your question. But still, if you want, they want to discuss anyone, they can discuss also. Thank you. Yes, sir. Please.
Good evening, Dr. BETKAR, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Wonderful presentation you have made. And really, you brought that subject, on the surface because whenever I'm going with the meeting, I find all these kind of aspects. I can see only forehead region of the person. I could see only the ear of the person. Very much there, and we had to tell them, what you are doing exactly, right? So many of the time, people doesn't recognize also. The audience doesn't recognize also what they are doing exactly. So this is very essential for the speaker as well as for the audience also to have a good communication online. I want to add some points like, that voice quality is so important. If it is interrupted, if it is disturbed, if there is echo, and, the things become so different then, and the message will not reach. So that is one thing, voice quality. And I will say voice quality, if you are talking too low or you are talking too harsh, and, that is also very important. And the voice quality. Technically, yes, I told you the echo and sometimes the network problem, you are missing some words in between, especially the vital words only you are missing. So how this communication is taking place. And third thing, what I found is, that the background now noises and background what you have said, people moving all around you, or maybe the wife is coming in between, right? Everyone comes to, they interferes in your house also then. So these are the very, very crucial things, when you are online. First of all, what I am doing is, we should have a proper place, that, we should make it proper place only. So over there will be no such a disturbances. You said background is also very important because it distracts the audience. Many of the times, if suppose there are some kind of awards kept in your showcase, then I start searching, what kind of award you have received. And so many things we are doing. So this is very essential. Online communication is very different than what physical communication we are making. So the principle remains the same. The sender is there and the receiver is there and the message in between and the content of message is also very essential. These are the basic principles. But what I feel, there are some additional problems. These are very, very necessary. Sometimes, you can find out people keeping the screen continuously off. Means they are somewhere, they are some busy somewhere, and they are not coming out of the. So that is what I conclude. This is a secondary thing. They are just listening passively. Second thing is, you'll find people while listening, they keep moving here and there, and you can hear the sound, the step sound, everything you can hear. So how much they are concerned with their subject and topic and how they are presenting, that is also a very big question. So I could just recollect these points while your lecture is going on, and really wonderful lecture. We were there throughout from the beginning to the end with your lecture. It was no monotonous communication, one-way communication. It was a two-way communication what you have made. Thank you very much. I want to ask, about the online, the email, we are sending or WhatsApp messages we are sending. So that is also one kind of communication what we are doing. So what you want to say about this kind of communication? Nowadays, the chat GPT is there. We place certain sentences, the prompt is there, and they form the content and we are sending them. Nowadays, this kind of letters or this kind of mail or this kind of messages seems to be very artificial. And, that human touch is lost somewhere, what we can find out. If we can find out very great words in your, message, right, we can realize very easily this is not truly a person's reflection. So what do you think about this? Thank you.
First of all, sir, thank you for all your inputs and additions. And definitely what you said is really makes a lot of sense, because we see so many presentations where, the background, as you said, somebody is coming in the background, or there's a lot of noise, or sometimes people don't realize the camera is on, they're walking all around. It can be really distracting. So it's very important. And you also talked about the voice and all that. So I have only limited myself to the body language part. Actually, the voice and how you speak, all that is also a major contributor. But looking at the constraints of time, only that aspect I had covered. But that is also a very important aspect. As I said, 55% is the body language, 38% is all that voice and everything. So that's another presentation by itself. And as you were asking about the email and that kind of a communication, definitely now that has also become a very important part of communication, and we need to follow certain etiquettes. Like people forget that even for email communication there are etiquettes to be followed, and it could be as simple as not typing everything in caps. Sometimes we have the habit of subject all caps. All capital letters is equivalent to shouting. So even people don't realize it, but or too much overuse of punctuation, or not addressing somebody properly. All these are important things when it comes to sending a mail. Or if it's a formal mail, like even if it's to your colleague, using every time saying dear, either you put the name of the person, then you write your message, and then regards. So sometimes people get too lazy, they might just send a text without properly addressing the person. So this is not being you're not following the etiquettes of email. So all these things are very important, and these might be minor points. Like sometimes especially in CC, when somebody writes a mail, there might be a lot of people in in CC, but when you reply back to the mail, do you really want to reply back to all those people who are there in CC? If not, you have to take care only to reply to that one person. Otherwise, for example, if someone, if the principal of the college wishes his staff a happy Diwali, and it's addressed to everybody. So if suppose I have to say thank you, and I say thank you and that goes to everyone. So if 100 people respond like that, everybody is getting those messages. So we have to even be mindful not to explode people's inboxes with so many unnecessary messages. And how exactly you need to respond. So all these are, again, as I said, this is a matter of a separate presentation in itself. So all these points are very important, and thank you for bringing all this to the forefront, and thank you for listening, and keeping your video on so we could see you as well. It's good to see people on the other side. So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Wonderful explanation you had given. I remembered, that postures and, the dressing code, is also part of body language, right? I remembered one of my colleague, sitting with a blazer and short below, and the camera was reverted. It happens. It happens. So, and that is a great thing. Thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciable. Wonderful explanation you had given. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Betkar, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Sanand Shukla, sir. Every day we become addict because of you to communicate the speakers, because it gives a special conclusion by you adding some points and discussing all these things. It gives a best effect of the webinar. So thank you, Dr. Sir, for a detailed discussion with our speaker. And I was thinking also to organize such a subject webinar on this point also, but no one was coming ahead. But when I read the subject from the Shirley Mathew madam, so I was become happy also at that time, because this topic here should be discussed, because it's already online meeting. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir, and thank you to all participants, those who have actually interacted with the speaker. So I'm very much thankful for your valuable time on this dais. In future also we'll be here on new topic. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, everybody. Good day.
Good. Participants are requested to fill the feedback link